this is Vanessa Marshall, Harrison Dula from Star Wars Rebels, and I want to tell you about something very, very special. Saturday, May 4th, please join me for Podathon 2024. That is a day-long charity podcasting event that raises money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The day is going to be filled with all kinds of amazing shows, awesome guests, and lots of fun. So please mark your calendars for May 4th. And if you want more information, visit the website www.thepodathon.com. That's right, and you'll learn more about how you can donate directly to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I can't wait to see you there, and may the 4th be with you.
Okay, where is Nick? He should have dialed in by now. Where the heck is he? Well, at least I got my alcohol. Nick, look. Hey.
Oh, hey.
Hello there.
I'm here.
What? That's right. We're doing Podathon this weekend.
We're here. Look.
Oh, my goodness. And we're here live.
It's showtime.
And in person.
ATG Live. Let's do it.
Well, welcome to ATG Live, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. And it's really like it's live in a different way tonight because I got my co-host sitting right across the table from me. Nick, how you doing, man?
Dude, I left my house super early this morning and came to New Jersey. And it was everything I hoped it could be.
Really?
at the end of it, there were computers and bottles of bourbon. So
that's really what it's all about.
What
really.
more can a girl ask for?
Right. Well, so tonight we are hanging out. We are prepping for Podathon. We are trying out the new studio for Podathon, where it's going to be the two of us live and in person together, hanging out,
adjustments, as you
looking for mic adjustments. And
right.
So this could be
a work in progress. Thank you, everybody.
Could very well go off the rails at any moment, but we thank you for hanging out with us. We have a special guest tonight. We have Kyle Newman, who you guys know from Fanboys, but he's written some Dungeons and Dragons books. He's got some sort of coffee thing going on. He's going to tell us all about.
He might be one of the more busier people that I've talked to recently between all his multiple projects. We know the Disturbance in the Force documentary that came out months ago that he's talked about. It's going to hit streaming, I think, tomorrow. And he's a Star Wars guy, so he's probably got Star Wars Day planned. So we're going to talk to him about all of that.
We are going to dig into all that. And we're also going to, our news segment is going to be a little bit different tonight. We're going to talk to you all about all the things coming up for Podathon this weekend, everything you're going to want to know, everything you need to know so that you can get all the stuff. And we're also privileged to be joined by a father of a child who has been a Wish child, and we want to hear from him as to what that's all about and what being a Make-A-Wish child does to help them through all these challenges. But Nick, why don't we do a little bit of housekeeping? It's my house, but you can do the keeping.
It is your house, but I'll do the keeping. If you are here for the first time, of course, welcome. We love having new people join us. If you're a returning guest, visitor, part of the family, thank you for being here. The number one thing that we want to put in front of you is the sswnetwork.com. That is your one-stop shop for social media, clips of the podcast, clips of all the different shows and things that we do. You can find our merchandise. If you use the code, I believe this is still working, Pete. The code SHELL15, you'll get 15% off your first order. We've got t-shirts, cups, mugs, all the nonsense you don't think you need. It's there. Also our Patreon program, we would love to have your support. We have a bunch of amazing patrons who help us do this thing that we love to do on a weekly basis. Positive, fun Star Wars conversations, amazing guests talking about the news, because we are living in a golden era of Star Wars news. There's always new stuff coming out. Star Wars Day is Saturday. We've got new shows coming. I think there's going to be some surprises that we don't know about yet. So go to the sswnetwork.com, find all of those things there, and hang out with us even more.
Yeah. And, so since we are not doing as much news tonight as usual, in the comments tonight, tell us what you're going to be doing on Star Wars Day. We want to hear what you're doing other than watching Podathon, of course, at some point during the day. Nick, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long day and a long night. So we won't be doing anything other than sitting right here You'll actually probably see moss growing on us by the time Saturday ends. But we're really excited about that. We're excited to tell you all about it. But we're going to take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to somebody about what Make-A-Wish really means from a personal level, a friend of Nick's. But we'll be back in just a minute with more ATG Live. Well, we are back with ATG Live, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. Look, normally we kick into a news segment at this point, but I'm going to be honest with you, Nick. You and I talked a little bit during the week as we were prepping here for Podathon. Here's the news for the week. More Rey Skywalker movie stuff.
That's right.
Another clip from Empire, Tales of the Empire coming out this week, and some Acolyte rumors. And that's the news for the week. So
all the things we talk about for the last six Thursdays.
I feel like we spend too much time talking about that sometimes, but we don't have anything new to say about it.
But that's okay, because this is a nice change up for us with the news. And I'm excited to bring in, I've invited a good friend of mine. He actually lives in the same town as I do. So basically I left Alabama to come to New Jersey to turn around and bring on one of my really good friends from Alabama to talk to us. But we're going to bring on my friend Matthew Monson. Matthew is the father to Violet and Josiah, the husband to Mandy, and they are a Make-A-Wish family. And so we want to bring him in to talk about his story, talk about what Make-A-Wish means to families like theirs. So we're going to hit the thing and we're going to bring Matt in. There he is,
Hey,
Matthew
guys.
Monson. Welcome to ATG Live.
How are y'all?
Doing fantastic.
Great. I'm so excited to be with y'all tonight. I really am. I am blown away by the sheer amount of professionalism. Dang, man. This is a big deal. Y'all are doing some great stuff.
Thank you, Matt.
Well,
Thank you.
We appreciate it. You can come on anytime you want if you're going to say nice things like that about it.
But I
This is
do.
your
I
one
also want.
movie.
I also want to thank you. We do have a requirement for ATG Live when we put in the permit to have this podcast. We did have to have somebody live from Alabama every single week.
Every-
And so
yeah.
So Nick made the trip, and you're joining us. So
You keep us in compliance.
I appreciate
That box
very
is
much.
checked. You are safe.
Outstanding. Well, we're thankful that you're here. Obviously, we have been involved. You've been involved with Podathon actually the last couple of years. I know Pete interviewed you 2 years ago. I did a little clip that we ran last year, but we've got lots of new folks tuning in, lots of people who are going to be joining us for Podathon. Give us a little bit of backstory about your family, about Violet, and then we'll get into kind of the Make-A-Wish of it all.
Sure. So the truth of the matter is we're just a regular family of four. It's just that our normal and our regular looks a little different. Violet is my daughter, and she is 10, and she was diagnosed with Rett syndrome when she was about 18 months. And that is a non-inherited genetic mutation. It's not something her mother carried, nor I. It's just sheer magic how it just happens. And so that has rendered her nonverbal, which means she doesn't speak, she doesn't talk. She uses a Tobii eye gaze device, much like someone with ALS would. So basically, there's a computer tracking her eyes, and it voices her needs for her. And she also deals with muscle apraxia. So she doesn't always have good control over her body and where it's going. So if we're looking at this from like a tech standpoint, think about it like this. All of your input is fine, but you have no control over your output.
Right.
So she is presented with many challenges each and every day. And, you know, that makes challenges for my family, for my son and my wife and myself as well. But, you know, we we feel blessed that she is with us each and every day, and we view part of our goal and mission here on this earth is to make her life as good as it possibly can be, and Make-A-Wish has been a large part of that.
I think it's really interesting to hear that piece of the story, because I think one of the misconceptions of Make-A-Wish is it is a certain type of child, whether it's just a cancer treatment or a terminally ill child.
Right.
So I think that's really important to know, because and I'd love to hear your thoughts, because one of the things that struck me in speaking recently with some of our Make-A-Wish partners is they recently did a study that said 9 out of 10 doctors say that a wish helps push the child through and helps give them that inspiration. Tell us a little bit about your wish, which was granted, and what it did for your daughter.
So our wish was many years in planning, because we had this like global pandemic in the middle of it, kind of stalled everything out.
Yeah.
But what Violet ultimately what we decided on, and what Violet picked was to go to Disney World. And Disney World is definitely the happiest place on earth, but I promise you, it is way, way, way happier when you're a Wish family. There's like red carpet treatment, and then there's Disney World Make-A-Wish treatment. Just from the day you go and the day you check in, first, Make-A-Wish provides you through one of their partners, Give Kids the World, which is a resort that is specifically for children with disabilities there in Orlando. So you stay there for free. They feed you every day. You can do ice cream 24/7 if you want. And then it's a free for all in the parks. And it is truly a free for all. The thing that stuck out to me the most was they said, wear your Make-A-Wish shirt every day. And I was like, every day? Yes, every day, because your whole park experience changes when they see that you're a Wish family and a Wish kid. No lines is pretty awesome. It's pretty cool to go in the backstage access point to ride like the what was the new ride, the Star Wars ride, Nick? The name is
Rise of Resistance.
Yeah, the Rise of the Resistance. To go in the backstage on that and cut all the line to ride, and then to be able to take my son. The only thing he wanted to do was to go to Savvy's and make his own custom lightsaber. And of course, we got there and it was all booked up, and you smile the Make-A-Wish smile, and they're like, we'll see you at 9:30. And so we did that, and we went to all the shops, and we hit that place at a hugely busy time. It was spring break for everybody. Not spring break, excuse me. It was Thanksgiving and Christmas break for everybody. That's when
even worse, right?
Even worse, right?
Yeah,
it was the busiest time, but you would never have known that. And when you say, Pete, it pushes the kids to get through a tough time. Totally true with Violet. Watching her smile and watching the way she responded to the characters she met, to the rides we got to ride, and just us as a family, it felt great to just be in the moment and not worried about this doctor's appointment or this medical need or what are we going to do with school and her IEP. We were just a family on vacation, and that was made possible with Make-A-Wish.
Absolutely. And I want to hit on something else that kind of ties to what Pete said. Sometimes the misconceptions about Make-A-Wish, but also you mentioned your son, and, Violet was the recipient of this wish, but talk about what a Make-A-Wish experience does for the family members, because she does have a big brother and she has parents who work hard to love her and take care of her. And so the wish experience really is, holistically for the whole family. Talk about that a little bit.
The Make-A-Wish does a fantastic job, not only planning and working with the family to make sure that it's something that the entire family can benefit from, but they set aside specific things and specific items to make the wish happen in the most seamless format for everyone. So my son wasn't treated any different than Violet, nor was I, nor was Mandy. We were all treated as the gift recipient. Right. And that that goes a long way, because parents and siblings of children with special needs, we carry a big burden already. And oftentimes when you're working and interacting with the outside world, either through naivete or through, a closed, narrow-minded perspective, it's made harder. And sometimes it's just through plain old, ignorance. People don't know, but not when you're wearing that Make-A-Wish shirt, and not when you're representing Make-A-Wish. Everybody understands that you're the star of the show. And that's how we were treated.
Absolutely. I've heard stories, and I'm curious if you've gone through it as well, where you connect with other Wish families and you build a little bit of a connection, a little bridge to people who are going through similar things as you.
Yeah, we not only have we made connections with Make-A-Wish families here locally, whose children are impacted by the same genetic disorder. We've also met Make-A-Wish families from all over the Southeast. And the interesting thing with that is to hear everybody's wish and how different and vastly different they are.
Yeah.
I mean, we've met Make-A-Wish families who it was, I want to go see the Grand Canyon. I want to go to Hawaii and swim with dolphins. I want to go to Disney World. I want to go to London. I want to go see this concert. The experience becomes the vehicle to connect families who need this support system of each other. And the interesting thing is that the cost, the families never know the cost. We got 7 days, Disney World park, money for travel, money for souvenirs, like we wanted for nothing on our Make-A-Wish trip. And when we kept saying, oh my gosh, who can we thank? Where do we send a thank you note? Everybody was like, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. There was never any kind of concern or any kind of mention of any kind of financial recompense. Everybody was like, nope, this is what we do. So it's truly powerful that when you have an event like Podathon, and if you're on the fence about donating, I'm telling you, you're changing a kid's life. You're changing their perspective on the world.
Yeah.
Even if you think, I don't know anybody who needs this, I don't know a Wish family, it doesn't matter. You can hold it in your heart and know that whatever amount you give, be it $5 or $5 million, you have made a kid's entire world shift on its axis with one donation.
Well, Matt, that is a really good point, because we've spoken a couple times to our friends at Make-A-Wish, to some of the people who are going to be part of Podathon, and that's just it. Like, people think sometimes, well, if I donate $10, I'm not doing anything. The reality is, and there's a great story that the head of social media for Make-A-Wish told me about. The kid just wanted a bike, $75 bike, right?
Yeah.
And of course they did more than just, deliver a bike from Walmart to him or whatever. But the reality is your gift goes toward things like that. Or, a $50 donation paid for your meal one night in
Absolutely.
Disney World. So any little bit counts. You get 100 people donating $10, it's $1,000, and you've paid for a kid's room in a nice stay somewhere. So, did we lose him?
We might have frozen.
We might have frozen. Lloyd, are we still going? Nick and I are going though, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're gonna swap out Matt for just a second.
That's
here.
Right. So yeah, it's such an amazing thing, and it's so neat to hear stories like Matt's, to hear the ones that you've heard from our partners at Make-A-Wish, learning what it is they've been able to do, hearing how events like ours, like we put a lot of work into this event, we're excited about it, we're passionate about it. There's a moment when we might tend to think, well, is this enough? Is this a drop in a bucket? But
right.
Literally every little bit helps, and every little bit makes a difference.
Absolutely.
So I'm thrilled that we're able to do what we're able to do. And also try not to be distracted by the screen in front of us, figuring out this new setup. There he is.
There he is. He's
That's
back.
right. We'll get Matt back for a wrap up here.
Yeah, let me bring him back in. There he is, I think.
No, maybe. Oh.
Maybe. No.
That's all right.
Oh, there he is. Is that it? No. It's that Alabama internet, man.
See?
I'm telling you.
Oh,
Hey,
there he
Okay,
is.
hey.
There we got him back.
There was some frantic texting, Nick. Just ignore those ones with all the expletives. I was
It's
trying my
good.
best.
It's good. It was a perfect time. We heard the last of what you were saying there. Before we get you out of here, though, I just want to give you another chance. Anything you want to say to Make-A-Wish, anybody that you want to say to the folks that are watching tonight that may be tuning in on Saturday, parting thoughts from you, because you've been directly connected by this whole thing.
Sure. The first, most importantly, thank you to Make-A-Wish. Thank you from a Wish family. Thank you from a Wish kid. Thank you for changing our life for that 1 week. That it is truly something that we will remember forever, and we talk about still to this day, and we celebrate. For anybody who is on the fence, who is not sure, who thinks, like Pete said, it's $10. Come on, guys. $10 is one less Starbucks run. You can have a cup of coffee at the house. We can all pitch in and change the lives of kids. And you will make, I promise you will make more fans, more Star Wars fans from these children and these families as they're going and as they're getting to experience these Make-A-Wish trips, regardless of where that is, because they'll know where it's coming from. I'm assuming all these gifts will be funneled through Make-A-Wish's website, so tax deductible.
Yes, that's a great point. Thank you very much for bringing that up, Matt. It goes directly, if you go to thepodathon.com or the QR code that you'll see shortly. If you go through that, it goes directly to Make-A-Wish. It does not come through Podathon. Nope. It goes directly to Make-A-Wish. You're going to get a receipt from Make-A-Wish. It will be completely tax deductible, and it funnels directly into that.
Most importantly, that money's going to go to work right away. It's not going to get hung up in bureaucracy or us trying to be organized and that kind of thing. Directly to Make-A-Wish. At all those links, all those things that he mentioned. Matt, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to be with us tonight. We love you and your family. And try to watch out for Alabama until I get back.
I'll do my best. Hey, and listen, I'll be around on Saturday too. So if you get somebody, you need a space filler between all the great guests you've got lined up, you need somebody to come in and just run his mouth for 5 minutes so y'all can go to the potty. Don't hesitate to reach out, Nick. You know how to get in touch with me, and
Absolutely.
I want to do anything I can to support what y'all are doing, because I think it's great. I think it's great as not only as my friend Nick, who's out there and takes a huge role in this, but also it's so beneficial to my family. So, Absolutely. Nick, just let me know, and I'll do whatever I can to help Saturday as well.
We got you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll
Absolutely.
talk to you soon.
Pete. Good to see you again.
Good
Thanks,
to see you too, buddy. See
Absolutely. Y'all have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye.
We are going to take a break, and after we take our break, we're going to be back with Kyle Newman, and then after that, we want you to stick around so we can give you all the details on Podathon 2024. But Kyle's got some fun stuff to talk about as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more ATG Live. We have been working with Make-A-Wish through Podathon for this is the 4th year we've done it, and we have been just overwhelmed by the positivity and the contributions of the Star Wars fan base. But Ian, maybe tell us a little bit about why it's important to donate, and maybe tell us a little bit about what events like this mean for Make-A-Wish.
So on average, our organization grants a wish for a child every 33 minutes. My favorite statistic. I love it. My least favorite statistic is that a child is diagnosed and becomes Make-A-Wish eligible with a critical illness every 20 minutes. So for every wish we grant, there are 2 more waiting. Every single dollar that you and your listeners raise, you donate and you raise for our organization, it goes towards granting those wishes that are waiting. So it's my favorite and least favorite because it shows how hard we work and how efficient our organization is at granting the wishes of those children. But it also shows the insurmountable odds that we're up against. Your support is constantly needed. It's not going to change, unfortunately.
And thank you and your organization for everything you do, changing kids' lives every single day.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a genuine honor and privilege to be able to do it, and we cannot do it without your support.
And we are back with the live Thursday night Star Wars conversation show, ATG Live. And Nick and I are sitting in a little different spot. Normally he's in Alabama. I'm in New Jersey. Today we're both in New Jersey. We're in our Podathon studio. We want to tell you all about it. So please make sure you're sticking around for the full show tonight. But I'm glad you're here right now because, Nick, we have a very special guest.
We have a very special guest. I would say at this point, easily safe to say, friend of the show. Our buddy Kyle Newman is here. You know Kyle from Fanboys. You know Kyle from a million different things. He's actually coming on to tell us about like 20 of those million different things. This man is so busy. He has so many things going on. I can't wait to talk to him about coffee and cookbooks and the disturbances in the Force doc, May the 4th plans. We're going to do all of that. So I'm going to get out of the way. Lloyd's going to run the thing, and we're going to be back with our buddy Kyle Newman.
Oh, that's my mistake. We're getting to know this setup here. There we go.
There he is.
Kyle, how are you?
Everybody,
What's up, dude?
how are you guys? Thanks for having me on. It's
course.
awesome you guys are doing with your Podathon. It's tremendous cause, and you guys put a lot of work and time into it. So many great people come out, and it couldn't be for something more meaningful. So kudos to you guys for doing that and
Thanks.
making it happen. That's incredible.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we're super excited about it.
It's a labor of love, no doubt. It's something that, you know, we put a lot of time and effort into. Our spouses they're like, are you still working on that thing? But at the end of the day, when we get to say to our spouses, we raised this much money for Make-A-Wish, like, okay, cool, I get it. And, you know, it all works out. And people like you, so many of our guests have been such a huge part of that. So, you know, the thanks comes back your way as well. Welcome back. We haven't seen you in a little bit. Last time we talked to you was before Disturbances in the Force came out. We got the early review of it and got to talk to you a little bit. Let's start with that since I led with that. If I'm not mistaken, is there some news about Disturbances in the Force and streaming for tomorrow, maybe?
Well, we are coming out on television for the first time in the United States, North America, in a big way. So we're part of Vice. Is doing a Star Wars May the 4th weekend, and we are kicking it off. A Disturbance in the Force documentary, which is our documentary about the how and why of the Star Wars Holiday Special. And yeah, we're just excited to get it out there so everyone can see it now. We've been on VOD, been able to purchase it, but now you can watch it for free if you can get Vice, and most places you can get that. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
It's so good. And I have to say, and I know Pete and I text about this relatively regularly, if I'm being honest. I've seen it 3 times. I need people to watch this documentary because it's so good, because the holiday special holds such this unique place, certainly not only in Star Wars lore, but in pop culture. And I love, you know, you guys get into, you know, variety shows in the 70s, you know, all these different elements and things that built it. So the fact that it's becoming available to a wider audience, like, this is the good stuff we need in the world right now. We need this documentary out. So the question is, aside from me just gushing about it, what have you guys seen in the time up till now since it's been out, reaction wise, running into fans? What kind of feedback have you been getting?
You know, the feedback has been, first of all, thank you. Thanks for watching it 3 times. And that's great. We've received, I mean, really incredible feedback. I can't believe it. It's rare that you're involved in something that critics like at least for me. And it's you're involved in something that fans like too. And sometimes there's a discrepancy. And we're still sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics.
It's amazing.
We're certified fresh, which means we finished the year as one of only 13 films that were 100% fresh certified.
That's awesome.
Which is I wasn't expecting it. We weren't expecting it. There's a lot of love poured into the movie, and I think maybe that's what people pick up on. And it is a very fun and funny movie, so it's an enjoyable fan experience. I think we want it to be lean and mean, and Steve Kozak and Jeremy Kuhn, directors. Jeremy is also the editor. The commitment was to make this thing a fun, not brief, but you know what I mean? It's over before you know it. You're in and out, and you're like, I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. Whoa, what just happened? It's one of those cool experiences, and I think that's what people are reacting to. It's easy to consume. It's easy to recommend. It's easy to rewatch. So it has a lot of good things going for it. And tomorrow and this weekend should be big. Seeing more people getting a chance to watch, and we'll probably do some more around actual Life Day, November 17th. I'm sure we'll be back again, pushing it. I'm hoping this becomes an annual thing. Response is awesome.
I love the comment that you and I think Goldberg made as well, is instead of watching the holiday special, watch this. It's a little bit it's a little bit easier to handle.
It's true. I mean, especially if you've never seen the holiday special, don't go pop it on. I think you need to watch it first. I think you need the context before you watch it.
Right. I got to ask you a question. As we hit the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace coming up, which is insane. Fanboys. About fans trying to get first access to, I'm oversimplifying this, one of my favorite movies there. That's like saying the Holy Grail is about the Holy Grail. How has Fanboys aged over the 25 years, and how do you feel about it today versus perhaps in the past?
This is our 15th anniversary year, so it's pretty crazy. February, I did some media about it, and I think everyone's excited that we can't believe it went by so fast. It also seems like so long ago.
Right.
Obviously, culture evolves and changes. Comedy changes. There are a few jokes in it which you probably wouldn't put in today. There's things like that. But the crux of the movie, the heart of the movie, how we cast the movie, what we pulled off, that I wouldn't give up for the world. So everything's made in it's a time capsule for a period, and we were also making a period film.
Sure.
And so you're looking back at it in two different ways. It's really saying what was life like in 1998, and also you made a movie that came out in 2009, and you're putting it through the lens of 2024. So there's always going to be things where you're like, oh boy, I probably shouldn't have had that joke in there. Granted, I didn't write all the jokes, but it's interesting what was commonplace versus where we're at now.
Sure. Yeah. And every movie ages, and I'm, there's obviously, I'd say I'm less curious about that. And the, just the way it has reflected sort of the joy of fandom, because the Star Wars fans, fan base has, over the last several years, and I think on one of the shows you were on with us in the past, we've talked a little about even the weird Star Wars culture that we live in now, right? There's sort of the positive and the negative and the toxicity and whatnot, but the pure love of those characters in the van on their way to the West Coast, that has captured, I think we've all felt that as Star Wars fans, and I love that. And I think what's really interesting too is Phantom Menace is being re-released this weekend. Nick and I are going tomorrow. And we're as excited about it as we were when we first saw it. Not as excited as we were when we walked out the first time, if we're being honest, right? A lot of us walked out of it. The Jar Jar on the back joke is hilarious. But it's weird how that movie has evolved. Has that movie changed at all for you in 25 years?
It has. but I wouldn't think as drastically as for some people.
Sure.
I, for better or for worse, I understood the movie when it came out, and I looked past some of its perceived flaws.
Mhm.
I think where some people are ending up with it now, putting it in context, I was almost already there. I could step out of the era I was watching it and say, okay, everyone wants it to be very contemporaneous. They want it to feel like movies that we're getting this summer, 99, like Matrix and things like that. And it was held up against those standards. And George, wasn't making that movie. So I looked at it in a different way as it came out. And I'd also read the book before I saw the movie.
Right.
Which is, I know people are like, that's sacrilegious. I couldn't help myself. I picked it up. I'm like, I'm just going to read the first chapter. I'm not going to read the rest. And then I'm like, all right, just the second chapter. And I was like, oh. So I just read the whole thing. And I had the soundtrack, and I was listening to the soundtrack. So I understood the story. I felt it in a way beyond what the movie was. And I didn't go and sit in a movie, plop down in the seat, get my popcorn, and get my soul crushed. I had eased into that movie experience. And the book gave a lot of nuance and decompression, and I experienced it over more time than just a 2-hour sitting, and I got to think about the story as I read it, and I understood what he was trying to do methodologically. If you strip away the movie and just say, what's the story? What's the myth? If you were to do this as like an orated tale like the Odyssey or the Iliad, what's the story you would tell somebody? You're like, that's a pretty good story. I mean, it's pretty epic, some big, bold swings. There are some silly Jar Jar poop jokes and things. You're like, what the hell is this doing here? Like, edit that out. I can look past that and look at the big thing, and that's why I've always loved it. There's some times where I'm like, why do I love it so much? I don't know. Is this irrational? Am I an idiot? Why do I love this movie so much? Why have I seen this movie 100 times? And then there's other times I'm like, I don't know. It's enjoyable. It's comfort. Like, I love Lord of the Rings movies. I also, every holiday season, watch the Hobbit movies. People are like, those are atrocious. Those are horrible. I don't know. There's something comfortable about them. They're imperfect, and I would re-edit them, but I can still sit and enjoy them. I love the world. And maybe that's what I experienced too with Star Wars. And I love Star Trek: The Next Generation and Star Trek. And I can look past the shortcomings of how they were made and when they were made to enjoy them for what they are. And maybe there's a little bit of that going on with The Phantom Menace. And I think, considering the era we're in right now in Star Wars and how cynical fandom is, how divisive it is, which it wasn't in 1998. It was after this movie came out,
right,
in 1999. But before then, there wasn't a lot to be divided about other than Return of the Jedi and Ewoks. It was, there were some arguments about some novelizations.
That one Jabba scene in the special edition, that was really it.
Yeah, I would say for me, the low point of the special editions is maybe Jedi Rocks and maybe the Jabba scene where they where he steps on Jabba's tail.
Right.
I didn't hate the rest of it. So I actually liked some of the improvements, but I mean, like now we're in a place where things are coming fast and furious at us. There's a lot of stuff. People consume it really fast. They talk about it really fast. They analyze it really fast. And next week we're gone.
Yeah,
we're done.
Right.
We're not talking about Bad Batch anymore. Now we're on to, Tales of the Empire. And it's just, that's old news.
And we've been conditioned to know there's so much new stuff coming that we're like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And we're just waiting for it to keep piling on.
I'm meeting Star Wars fans now where they're like, yeah, I decided to skip Ahsoka, but I am going to watch Acolyte. And I'm like, wait, what? You skipped what?
Skip Star Wars.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Are you okay? I'm like, you just didn't watch a whole Star Wars show? And you're sitting here talking to me and you've got like your Wookiee shirt. I'm like, what?
Turn in your fan card.
There's so much that people are like, well, I got to pick and choose. I've got 3 kids and I can't. I'm like, I get it. There's almost so much. I have people call me and they're like, hey, I've got my 5-year-old on the call. We want to know why Darth Maul, we're watching Solo and he wants to know why Darth Maul's back. How the heck did this happen? And I'm like, having to explain this to people. And I'm like, well, if you watch Star Wars, Clone Wars, you'd know this. And then in Rebels, they did this. And then in this book, they did this. And then they're like, what Are you talking like how are we supposed to know that? Well, Dodge Maul died in Phantom Menace and he's back in Solo. And they don't, if you look at it in the cinematic universe way, they don't explain that at all. He's just
right. It's true.
back. You're like, wait, what's the timeline? And this is 10 years after what? And it doesn't make any sense to people. So there are levels at which we give ourselves up to this. And I think the three of us probably go full on. We absorb it all. And I think for those type of people, we look at the Phantom Menace and we say, you know what? There's a lot of good stuff in it in hindsight, and it's a pure George thing, and people are moving away from that. And maybe people don't fully get what Star Wars is in a George Lucas sense, and we're making it something new right now. And then there's a nostalgia for the pure George fairy tale storytelling.
I think that's a really great point that I've kind of known it in my mind, but haven't fully processed until you just said that. But I saw Phantom Menace in '99. I was 20 years old. I wasn't at a place then to maybe fully grasp what that movie was, which was, it was a straight up George Lucas, I'm doing it 100% my way, a passion project. And, for you as a director, as a writer, as a producer, like, there's something different between what he had to do in battle, certainly with New Hope, with the studios and get it bought. And this was his chance to do what he wanted to do. And I think that's a big deal that I didn't understand that then. And I think that helps paint the way I appreciate it now. And I didn't realize that.
It's pretty bold to take $115 million and go make your own movie and live or die by that sword. And I saw the movie, I think, 7 times in the first 30 something hours it was out.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I had I had the midnight show. I had a 3 a.m. show. I had several the next morning. It was just nonstop.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was let it bombard me,
That's right. Just soak it all in.
So I had to like it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I want to steer us out of Star Wars for a minute, and we're going to circle back around at the end because I want to hear about your May the 4th plans. You have a couple of other exciting things going on. Talk to us a little bit about the coffee thing, because that's what you and I emailed about a couple weeks ago.
Yes. So we recently launched a coffee called Pop Culture Coffee. popculturecoffee.com. It's direct to consumer. Pop Culture Coffee is founded by several friends. We love coffee, premium coffee experience. We also love fandom. And we're finding these really cool thematic unisons between things like Star Trek, Ghostbusters. We're launching Ninja Turtles on May 14th. We're doing these mutated flavors. We have Poppin' Peanut Butter Cup and Cowabunga Caramel Coconut, and they're cool. They're different coffee flavor experiences. And we're doing some in-universe Star Trek bags, and it's just a fun. There's some homebrew coming, which is our own flavors, and then doing some stuff which is licensed IP. And we're trying to find these organic ways of incorporating, themes, characters, flavors germane to these stories and settings, and bring them into it. Like what I was doing with the Dungeons & Dragons cookbooks, we're finding organic things pulled right from the stories, right from the modules and adventures, right from the novelizations or comic books, things the characters would talk about, things that were, germane to a region. This is ecologically possible here, and these type of underground living creatures don't have livestock, but they have access to this, and finding those parallels too with coffee, the way it's farmed and the way it's raised, the beans and the way they're roasted, and trying to have fun with that. So that's what we're doing with popculturecoffee.com. So we launched with Star Trek and Ghostbusters. So we have Ecto Espresso. We've got a Puff Mellow, which is the Stay Puft Marshmallow flavor infused one. And we've got something, for our Ray Stance's Race Cult Bookstore. We've got a really cool cold brew coming with that. We have Death Chill. It's all tied to the movie. I don't know if you saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It was really fun. So we've got this chocolate mint blast. It's our Vulcan vanilla. And really cool original art. A lot of it is original art with new artists, and then they're limited runs. So there might only be 1,000 of these, and then they're gone. and then if it comes back the flavor, it'll be with new art. So there's a collectibility.
That's cool. So there's like a collectability about it, right?
Yeah. So especially the cans too. I mean, you drink them and you can line them up when we start doing these Star Trek characters. We have the rights to do all the films, all the series. So there's a lot of characters to explore, a lot of planets. You can infuse it with some Andorian ale. We can do a lot of different things with this. It's really fun. And like I said, the Ninja Turtle stuff's beautiful and great. And we've got some other big licenses coming this year too. And I mean, I love coffee. So I'm trying to find flavors that are unique. You know, they fill your house with this amazing smell. And if you're going to go buy a coffee anyway, why not tie it to something you love, you know? And there's a lot of cool things happening in, you know, branded drink space. And, you know, I think we just got this inspiration to do it because it's two things we love. So it's like, why not, you know? Yeah. So that's brand new. We launched the first product, started shipping Monday, you know, out of the factory. It was all fresh roasted and brewed, and it's coming to people now, and they look beautiful when you get them in hand. So yeah, we're very, very excited about that.
That's cool. I can't wait to check that out. Well, you mentioned this as well. And I remember I tweeted something a couple weeks ago. I was at Target and I was seeing all these different books on the shelves from all these authors and friends of the show that have been on. Talk to us a little bit about the Dungeons and Dragons cookbook, because you were on kind of in between before it came out and then getting you back now. So tell us a little bit about that too.
So Dungeons & Dragons cookbook, it's called Heroes Feast, and we put out the first book in 2020, and it did so well. It was a New York Times bestseller. It kept going on and off the New York Times bestseller list, and we built this wonderful, passionate audience, people that love the idea of themed cooking. And Dungeons & Dragons is all about theater of the mind, but it's also about immersion. You want to stimulate all those senses and bring to life all these words and what people are performing, and create these scenarios. So oftentimes you're playing Dungeons & Dragons and you have Cheetos or Taco Bell or something. You're going to eat. You're at a table. You're with your friends. You're literally playing probably at a dining table. Right. Food is invariably a part of that experience. So why not have that food be themed by, if you're traveling through the Feywild, there's like dishes from the Feywild, or the Shadowfell, or if you're in, Kryn and Dragonlance, or if you're in an elven community and, your group of high elves are holding court, like there's food for that. So you could bring that to the table and it can be part of it. There's tavern food. There's food that you could cook on the road by fire. And it's not just all like Eurofare. It's very eclectic, because we're spanning 7, 8, 9 different planets, all these different settings, all these different cultures, all different levels of technology, and how they make and prepare and store their food. And the way cultures approach their food is also different. If you're an elf and you live 800 to 900 years, the way you might approach an aged cheese or something that's slow roast is different than, say, humans. Humans live fast and conquer, versus dwarves and elves. So everyone has like a way they approach their food, their palate, the holidays, the festivities around those things. And that's all reflected in the books. There's a lot of research. So we did volume 2, which came out this past fall. That's called Heroes Feast Flavors of the Multiverse. And at the same time, Heroes Feast, the series, came out, which is on Freevee and Plex. So we have a Heroes Feast cooking show, which is 20 hours, 20 episodes. Myself and my 2 co-authors are in all episodes as lore masters, and we help produce the show. And so that's out there too on demand. You can just watch it on Plex and Freevee. It's got everybody, like Matt Lillard's in it. So many great guests. And we just kind of, they cook their way through our dishes. And then this fall, we just announced we have a recipe deck coming called the Deck of Many Morsels, which combines recipe cards from the first book, from the second book, and 10 new recipes. And I'm not officially saying it, but there probably will be a third book too. So we're doing a lot. I mean, we've created this book, and this community sprung up around it, which is great. And people really like Dungeons & Dragons fans. Like, what are you doing your other 6 nights of the week? There's people that want to work their way through Dungeons & Dragons in a culinary sense and cook their way through it and go on that adventure. And I mean, there's some weird recipes too. There's crickets and there's more gamey meats, and there's not everything is a traditional protein. And we're trying to do more explorative, exotic theme stuff, and in future releases too, to keep it real. Not everything is just chicken or beef. It's these are fantasy worlds, and not there's some things that are comparable but not exactly. So we're trying to express that in there. And the same group of people, Sam Witwer, who voices Star Killer and the brother and Darth Maul, others. He is one of my co-authors, and we did a book called Art and Arcana, which is the visual history of Dungeons and Dragons. We followed it up this past fall again with Lore and Legends. It was our other book this fall, and that's more of a deep dive into D&D history and visual history. So we're doing a lot in that space, and Sam and his brother Michael, Star Wars fanatics as well as D&D fanatics, are my conspirators in that, and that's been really, really fun. There's a lot of parallels. I guess I'm just trying to see there's more than one way to experience your fandom. And that's kind of
for sure
the cookbooks, and that's kind of what we're doing with Pop Culture Coffee. And people, it's not just about the t-shirt or watching the movie. There's more to that. How you want to add dimension to your fandom. So it's pretty cool. It's been pretty fun.
I love that so much. I'm just sorry that you don't have anything else to do with your time, because clearly you're just sitting around looking for a project.
I am. I was telling people the other day, they're like, well, tell us about what you're up to. So, talking about some investors, and I'm like, oh my God.
Sit down. We're going to tell you.
I balance a lot of things at once. I wear a lot of different hats, and I can vacillate between the different tasks and, vocationally what I need to do. And for my mind, it works. But I think for some people, they're just like, this is my job. This is what I do. That's it. And I'm like, what am I wearing this hour? Like, what do I need to do? What kind of writing am I doing? Am I writing copy for press? Or am I writing script? Am I writing short story? Am I writing proposal? It's like I have to do a little of everything all the time. But I think that's keeps it fun. It makes it so it's not really, it's work, because man, it wears you down, but it's still, there's still something fun about it, and I'm thankful I get to do that. It's still a struggle, it's not like, what you do, all these different ideas are birthed from, maybe just one single career is not as easy as you'd hope it would be. So you kind of find other things, like I'm going to write books if I have downtime. All right, now I'm going to do coffee if I have downtime. Now I'm working consulting for another company called Mirrorscape, which does augmented reality gaming, tabletop gaming for Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer, things like that. So if you're into the terrain, you have all the terrain in your pocket. And it's like, that gets me excited that you could take, you have your whole collection of miniatures and terrain, and you could just carry it to a convention or your nightly game, and you don't have to have these big bins of things. So I'm kind of following down the path of things that excite me, or things that seem like they, never been done before.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. Well, Kyle, we're going to wrap you out on this because you've given us your time tonight. Do you have any big plans for Saturday for May the 4th? Do you have plans this weekend to see Phantom Menace?
Other than dialing into Podathon for a little bit, I'm sure it'll be
I'll come back. I'm going to see Phantom Menace tomorrow night at 8 p.m. at the City Walk in by Universal Studios. So that should be fun. And I might go see the Academy Museum is showing Return of the Jedi the next morning.
Oh wow!
So maybe do that too. So it might be like a 1-2 punch of two of the most derided films in the first 6.
And
then I don't know. Beyond that, I mean, that might be a lot right now. But definitely want to. I hope people get a moment to check out the Disturbance in the Force. All the details about it are on disturbanceintheforce.com. It's 90 minutes, and it's like a super fast watch. So if you get a chance to catch it on Vice, please do. It is available to rent otherwise and stuff like that. So
can't recommend it.
I think it's a good way to spend your your May the 4th, especially if you haven't seen it. You know, you've seen the movies. I don't think you've experienced anything like this. So
Not at all.
True.
I would
Not at
highly,
all.
highly recommend it.
I second that endorsement all the way.
I think you need to do a sequel about the Donnie and Marie special. That's got to come next.
You know, there's some wild clips in that sequence, and every one of them is worthy of its own documentary exploration. The Wayne Newton SeaWorld, you're just like, what?
Paul
going
Lind is an Imperial officer. I mean, there's so much to do.
Yeah. Yep.
That's great.
Outstanding. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We always love getting a chance to hang out with you and catch up, and I'm sure we'll do it again soon. We want to encourage everybody to check out Pop Culture Coffee, Services in the Force, D&D the Cookbook, and I guess may the Force be with you, sir.
May the Force be with you guys always. Thank you so much for inviting me on and letting me talk about all these crazy things.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Anytime, man. The door is always open. And we will be back with more ATG Live.
Where will you be when the Toronto Maple Leafs next win the Stanley Cup?
Why are you doing this to me? Fun fact, Dave Filoni is a huge hockey fan too. He
Penguins,
loves hockey.
right?
Yeah. He's a homer. He loves the Penguins. In fact, I texted him last night after the Penguins got eliminated, say, hey, look, I'm sorry.
I'm sure there was a lot of emojis in return.
Yeah. Well, hey, he sent me. So here's the thing. He sent me a shirt. It's the Maple Leaf logo, and it says in the middle, "Just once before I die."
Oh my, come on.
So he sent that to me.
Come
right?
on.
So I just thought it would be fair if I just sent him a commiseration text saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry your team didn't make the playoffs this year."
So sweet.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Sun-Hyung Lee from The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. And I want to invite you to join me on May the 4th for the Podathon 2024, raising money for Make-A-Wish. You can give a new hope to kids who need it the most. May the 4th be wish you.
Well, we are back with ATG Live, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. So great talking to our friend Kyle Newman. You know, if you told me 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that I would, I'd be able to call the guy who created Fanboys a friend of mine, I would lose my mind. Great guy. But Nick, we have Podathon coming up.
We do have Podathon, and we definitely want to talk about Podathon. We teased it during the news segment. We didn't get to it because we talked to Matt, had a great conversation with my friend Matt Monson about their experience with Make-A-Wish. But Podathon is Saturday, May the 4th. This is a charity event. If you're just tuning in halfway through the show and you don't know it, that we do for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This is the 4th year that we have done it. We have a whole bunch of Star Wars podcasts and content creators joining us. They have amazing guests. I think we're at what, 21 guests deep?
21 or 22. Yeah, 21 now. Yep.
21 guests deep.
Yep.
It is going to literally be a day that's going to go about 15 hours. We've totaled up.
Oh, it's insane.
A lot of time for Pete and I to sit in this room and be excited that he invited me to come up from Alabama. But Pete, maybe jump into a little bit about some of our guests and the people we've got coming on.
Yeah, you know, it is really, honestly, it will start at 9 a.m. East on Saturday morning, and it will go through probably about midnight. We have guests ranging from actors who you've seen on screen, including Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, Greg Grunberg, Snap Wexley, and of course the legendary Billy D. Williams,
rumored to be appearing in Fortnite tomorrow. Lando Calrissian himself.
Hello, what have we here? And then of course we also have Amy Allen, who is Ayla Secura, as well as she worked on at ILM. We also have, and I'm excited about this because I don't know a lot about it, but we do have a High Republic roundtable.
Yes.
Michael Siglain, the head of Lucasfilm Publishing, who does not do podcasts, will be joining Tarkin's Top Shelf, as well as Lydia Kang, author. All these are authors. Tessa Gratton, as well as
Zoraida
Cordova. That should be exciting. We also will have, this is something that I've wanted to do since we started Podathon. We are going to have a conversation with Rob Coleman and Hal Hickel about some of the effects and what went into the creation of the Phantom Menace 25 years later, to sit down with those guys. And it's interesting, Nick, and you and I have talked about this a lot. We've talked about it on the show. The celebrity that comes with the effects creators for Star Wars is something that's so unique to the Star Wars world.
Without a doubt. I don't spend a lot of time wondering what the guy who created the effects in Avengers Endgame is doing.
Right.
But like Phil Tippett or Hal Hickel or, some of the Todd Vaziri is another one.
Todd Vaziri, who's going to be on with Virtual Cantina.
Another, effects creator. So you're right. There's a whole other segment of this thing that we love. You mentioned Michael Siglain not doing podcasts. We have somebody else who is famously not really connected to podcasts.
Shocking that we were able to get this gentleman.
The one and only Pablo Hidalgo is going to be joining our friends Brian Young and Holly Fry from Full of Sith podcast, along with Matt Martin. Matt's been on with you, I think the second Podathon.
Yeah, Podathon too, yeah.
But it's just, and that's a fraction of the list. Like there's so much coming on Saturday.
We have literally been, Nick and I have on a daily, probably feeling like hourly basis, been looking at the schedule. It is going to be a packed day. And listen, we know a lot of people are very busy on May the 4th. When we picked this date, we said, this sounds like the perfect day to do it. Little did we know Lucasfilm was going to be doing all day movie marathons in certain theaters, releasing Tales from the Empire, which I'm fairly certain that Nick and I will be watching while our fellow podcasters are on live with their guests, trying to keep up with that.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on, but you can tune in at any time. And also, if you can't get to it at all on the day, and we get that, we understand, you can always go to bit.ly/Podathon24 or thepodathon.com and donate today, because not only when you donate are you giving to a great cause, as we heard from Matt earlier today, you're also going to be entered to win amazing prizes. Nick, do you have any of those prizes?
I do. And before I get to those prizes, that's the wrong one. I did want to highlight this comment from our friend TW McKay. He said, where can I find Never Tell Me the Odds? We mentioned Paul Sun-Young Lee, but this is kind of an added guest in and of itself.
Yeah, it's like superheroes with more superheroes.
ESPN has an official Star Wars podcast, and it is hosted by Ryan McGee, Arda Okal, and Clinton Yates. Hockey, baseball, college football, NASCAR, like these three guys work at ESPN. You see them on your TVs whenever you turn them on. And they love Star Wars. So they host the official Star Wars podcast for ESPN called Never Tell Me the Odds. They are not on YouTube, but if you go to any place that you get audio podcasts and just search Never Tell Me the Odds, you will find them. So TW, I highly recommend you check it out. They're lots of fun. They did a creature draft just a couple weeks ago, and that was fun listening to them go through. And they did it with retired NFL player Teddy Bruschi and his son, who is in college. So that was fun stuff to check out. So wherever you find audio podcasts, type it in and you can find them. So answering that question, but yes, prizes. We have a bunch of prizes. We have our friends at Regal Robot have donated the original trilogy metal signs that you have seen on their website. We have books galore. Some of them are signed. We have books from Inside Editions, The Return of the Jedi visual archive that we highlighted a few weeks ago on this show from Clayton Sandell, Kelly Knox, and ST Bende.
I think Clayton said he might be also giving away a signed version of that one.
So that is breaking news here.
Yes. You got to add it to your list.
That's right. Some Kelly Knox books. We have signed pictures from Vanessa Marshall, Harrison Dula herself. We also have from De Nuo Novo the customizable X-Wing pilot helmet. I know Pete has been excluded from winning prizes, and that's been a struggle since we found out.
I was about to double the donation just so I could
just
get
for that.
On that one.
We also have, what else do we have? Brian and Holly Fry donated a Halcyon sabak set from the now defunct Galactic Star Cruiser. It's got chips and cards and all this cool stuff with some paperwork and things that came with the Star Cruiser. So that is limited, rare, I guess, at this point. A bunch of stuff. So if you go to thepotathon.com, if you scan the QR code that will be on the screen until you're sick of seeing QR codes, every entry, every $10 you donate is an entry into the thing. So if you donate $50, that's 5 entries into these raffle prizes. We're going to draw some of them, kind of mid-evening. We're going to draw the rest of them late in the day. We just want to offer as many opportunities as we can for people to donate to Make-A-Wish.
And listen, if you are considering doing it and you have some time now and you want to donate today, if you donate before midnight tomorrow night, midnight Eastern time, tomorrow night, we will double your entries. So if you donate $20 instead of getting 2 entries, you're going to get 4 entries. Donate 100 instead of 10, you're going to get 20 entries. We have a lot of stuff to give away and a lot of stuff that people want. Oh, we didn't even mention there's a Lucasfilm swag pack. Yeah. They have done it. This is the 3rd year they've done it. They don't have all the details yet because what they do is they wait for the seasonal merchandise to come in, and it's handpicked by our friend over at Lucasfilm, and she will send it out to you. And one year it was scarves and like Yeti cups and
all kinds of cool stuff.
So there's so much great stuff coming. The other thing that I want to make sure that I mention, and I'm actually going to pull up the list because I don't want to miss anybody. We have so many, and I'm going to put on my glasses for this. We have so many phenomenal podcasters hanging out with us and doing these interviews for us, with us, for Podathon, giving of their time to be a part of this Make-A-Wish event. I just want to make sure I shout them all out. Tarkin's Top Shelf and all these shows you definitely want to check out. Yep. Tarkin's Top Shelf, Dyad in the Force. You may know Darth Chaco or Element 7. Their show is Dyad in the Force. Virtual Cantina, the biggest Star Wars convention or Star Wars celebration fan group. We also have David Whiteley, who is from television in the UK. He's from ITV. He's doing 3 interviews. He's bringing us Stephen Stanton, Cole Gowdy, and Brian Herring. So we're going to have 3 interviews with him. Full of Sith, as we mentioned before. Yub Nubcast, these late night comedy writers.
TV comedy writers. They're going to come on. They're going to give you some late night comedy writing, Star Wars loving flavor.
It's going to be so much fun. Bro Axiom, Relatable Nerds. If you haven't watched the Relatable Nerd show on YouTube, go check it out. They're hilarious and they have a lot of fun, and they're going to be talking about Star Wars. Thank the Maker, which if you were a fan of music in the late 90s, early 2000s, if you were an emo kid, if you like Yellow Card, if you like Bayside, and you like Story of the Year, Thank the Maker is a podcast with 3 guys from each from those bands, and they love Star Wars. And they're talking to Amy Allen. We also have, of course, Around the Galaxy and ATG Live, and Father Son Galaxy is going to be speaking to the legendary Billy D. Williams.
Can't believe it.
It is crazy. So that is what we have for Podathon as sort of a wrap up there. Nick, we have a lot of work to do between now and Saturday. Right. So unfortunately, we are not going to get to the phone calls and the comments tonight. We are going to shut it down a little bit early. But Nick, this was a great conversation. Again, if you are thinking about donating to the Podathon, head on over to thepodathon.com right now. Now's your opportunity to jump in and get on that. Oh, I didn't mention Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia has been hanging out and featuring comments and content about every one of our guests. So make sure to be following them. If you, I can't imagine you're a Star Wars fan and you're not following Wikipedia. But that's it. That is where we are for tonight. Nick, any other comments before we head out for the evening?
I mean, I can't wait to tear up New Jersey tomorrow.
We are going to go. We are going to be hanging out watching The Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. I am excited about that. You and I have talked about, we've texted individually multiple times since all the conversations about it being the 25th anniversary and all the, hey, this is happening. Every time I hear somebody talk about it, I'm like, oh, I want to go watch that. And I start to go turn it on in Disney Plus, and I have stopped myself every single time because I said, nope, you're going to see it in the theater. And tomorrow will be the first time I've seen that movie in the theater since I saw it in 1999. And I'm thoroughly excited to watch it with the new evolved eyes since the last time I saw it. So I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing next several Star Wars days.
Can't wait for it. Well, it is May the 4th weekend. For those of you who are not going to see during Podathon, please make sure to donate, even if you can't make it. But hopefully we will see you. We're going to be sitting there for 18 hours. So make sure to hang out and check us out. Pop in even for a minute, say hello. We are going to call it a night. Thank you very much for joining us on ATG Live. Nick, may the force be with you.
Always.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.